welcome back. It's a Wicked Wednesday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. Wicked show so far. Going to get even more wicked in the second hour. But once again, craziness is going on in Washington. They're continuing with this crazy impeachment hoax. And now, after going from the head of the Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff for brains, we go over now to Jerry Jabba the Hutt Nadler and 4 liberal constitutional scholars down in Washington. Let's take a look.
Out of there, and what you do with it is the very definition of legitimacy.
Let's continue on. Let's unpack what you've been talking about. First of all, the McDonald case, how was that decided? Was that a very split court? Were they really torn about that? That case came out how?
Yeah, it came out unanimous. So did a couple of the other cases I cite in my testimony, which also refute these criminal theories.
One of the things that you said also, and I think could be summed up, and I use it sometimes, just what's the layman's language here, is facts don't matter. And that's what I heard a lot of in the 45 minutes. Well, the facts said this, or the facts are disputed this, but if this, if that, if this, it rises to an impeachment level. And that was sort of what you're saying, that crimes, I think your word was, crimes have meanings. And I think this is the concern that I have. Is there a concern that if we just say it up that facts don't matter, that we're also, as you've said, abusing our power as we go forward here and actually looking at what people would actually deem as an impeachable offense?
I think so. And part of the problem is that to bring a couple of these articles, you have to contradict the position of President Obama. President Obama withheld evidence from Congress in Fast and Furious, an investigation, a rather moronic program that led to the death of a federal agent. President Obama gave a sweeping argument that he was not only not going to give evidence to this body, but that a court had absolutely no role in determining whether he could withhold the evidence.
Mr. Turley, I have a question on that, because you brought up Mr. Obama, you brought up other presidents in this process. Is there not an obligation by the office of the president, we'll just use that term, not to be Obama, Trump, Clinton, anyway, isn't there an obligation by the president to actually assert the constitutional privileges or authorities that have been given or when accused of something, or crime or anything else?
Yeah, I think that President Obama has invoked too broadly. But on the other hand, he has actually released a lot of information. I've been friends with Bill Barr for a long time. We disagree on executive privilege. I'm a Madisonian scholar. I tend to favor Congress in disputes. And he is the inverse. His natural default is Article 2. My natural default is Article 1. But he actually has released more privileged information than any Attorney General in my lifetime, including the Mueller report. These transcripts of these calls would be core executive privilege material. There's no question about that.
And I think that's something that's, again, not pointed out when you're doing a back and forth like we're doing. The transcript of the call release, the things that have been released from Mueller, as we go back through this, there has been, work in progress by this administration. I think the interesting point that I want to talk about is 2 things. Number one, Congress's abuse of its own power, which has not been discussed here, even internally, where we have had committees not willing to let members see transcripts, not being willing to give those up under the guise of impeachment, or you shouldn't be able to see them, although the rules of the House were never invoked to stop that. What we're seeing here, and I want to hit something else before we move on to something else, is the timing issue that you've talked about here. Again, I believe we talked about this with the Mueller report. We talked about this with everything else. This is one of the fastest, we're on track. I said this earlier. We're on a clock. The clock and the calendar are seemingly dominating this. Is irregardless.
Hey, welcome back. I don't know. I'm so disinterested in this whole kabuki theater going on down there because we know they're not going to impeach the president and the Senate. So we're wasting a lot of time and money that we don't need to be wasting. But even Turley said something very interesting right there, Frank. He said, President Obama withheld evidence from Congress on Fast and Furious.
Yeah,
he just admitted that.
Turley,
and a federal agent was killed by a gun that was given.
Yeah, Turley's been a rock star in these hearings. It's amazing that there aren't more law professors like him.
All right, we got to cut out. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Zen Sam,
yes,
executive producer of The Protocol, and she'll be talking to us about a very special story right after this.